Now, just a couple of days ago, it was announced the WNBA Players Union had voted to authorize a strike against the NBA owners. I just say NBA owners because every team is owned by an NBA owner except for two. All right? And they're trying to get one of those to an NBA owner, which is the Houston Rockets owner. And they announced that they brave, stunning, and courageously would authorize a strike.
The word draconian says a lot. The Players Union used it to describe the WNBA's current system. And that choice is revealing. This is a league that has survived for 27 years only because owners covered huge losses. Players receive full benefits. Salaries have risen steadily. Charter flights were approved. All of this happened without the league ever turning a profit. Calling that draconian shows how far leadership is from financial reality. Real draconian would be the league shutting down. Everyone loses their job. Women's pro basketball in the U.S. disappears for another decade, just like after the ABL collapsed. Being offered an 800% pay increase in a money-losing league is not oppression. It's a rare opportunity. This strike threat looks more like a tactic than a real plan. The union likely knows it lacks leverage and that public reaction has turned negative. Fans are frustrated. Sponsors may hesitate. Momentum from 2024 is already slipping. The timing couldn't be worse. The league finally had growth, stars like Caitlin Clark bringing attention, and owners ready to raise pay. Instead of building on that, players risk pushing fans away. The smarter move seems obvious. Take the raise, grow the league, prove profitability, then negotiate harder later, when the math actually works.
Thursday morning, because David Sampson, who's a really freaking smart sports business guy, came out and said, the NBA is going to draw the line on revenue sharing. And they will draw the line to the point of shutting the WNBA's doors down. They are not going to give the revenue sharing that the WNBA players want. And the women will compromise. and so I had a theory when I made that video that they did this to publicly save face before they did.
Here's what that women's sports fatigue comment is really about, and it's being misunderstood. It isn't coming from someone who hates women's basketball. It's coming from someone who is exhausted by hearing the same explanation every time progress stalls. Everything is framed as unfair. Every setback is blamed on bias. Every problem is treated as someone else's responsibility. The truth is, the WNBA has received support most leagues could only dream of. NBA owners have covered losses for decades. Teams share arenas, training centers, and staff. The league gets promotion during NBA games, favorable scheduling, and protection from competing directly with men's sports. Despite all of that, the league still hasn't turned a profit. At some point, the conversation has to change. It can't always be about what the league deserves. It has to be about what the league has actually earned. Yes, attendance and viewership went up last season, and that matters. But one strong year after more than 2 decades of losses doesn't erase financial reality. It doesn't suddenly fix the business model. What it does mean is progress. Real progress. And maybe the smarter move is to accept the huge raise on the table, prove the growth can last, and then negotiate the next deal from a position of real strength instead of hope.
Call it $250. So you mean to tell me y'all are not going to sign a deal where you get, let's call it a 7.5 to 8 times raise? You're not signing a deal with a 7 times salary increase. Let's just call it 7 times. Are you absurd? I mean, that's a great way for these players to lose the support of fans. By the way, they're losing the support of fans. Because the biggest complaint all these years is they didn't get paid.
Here's the extreme scenario nobody wants to say out loud. Replacement players are an option. Rookies are already under contract, which means they legally cannot strike. So the league could still move forward with names like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink once she returns from her ACL injury. Add to that every other first and second year player. And suddenly you still have recognizable faces on the court. Owners could then look overseas. European women's leagues are packed with skilled players earning between $30,000 and $60,000 a season. Offer them six-figure contracts in the United States, better facilities and global exposure, and many would accept immediately. Loyalty to a WNBA labor dispute wouldn't slow them down. They'd be booking flights within days. The Players' Union may be assuming NBA ownership would never allow this because of public pressure or bad headlines. That's a risky assumption. These owners run billion-dollar businesses. They've survived lockouts, moved teams, cut fan favorites, and made unpopular decisions before. They focus on long-term financial survival, not emotion. Expecting them to share revenue from a league that still loses money just because it feels fair misunderstands how these decisions are made. Business reality usually wins.
This is not going to end well. The entire leadership is made up of players who have ownership stakes in other leagues. And it's beneficial for them to kill the WNBA. When are the rest of the players going to boot them out of their roles? Embarrassing as F. I still don't get it. I still don't get it. How that could be happening. I will stop watching the WNBA cold turkey like how I left my first wife. Don't mess this up. They definitely have the wrong players representing the players. And I don't understand why none of that's... There's things that go on in this league that would never, ever, a million times...
That comparison to a 5 feet 8 inches YouTuber isn't random trolling. It points to a real moment that went viral online. Casual fans watched a WNBA All-Star struggle against an amateur content creator, then turned around and saw those same players asking for NBA-level pay. Fair or unfair, that contrast sticks. It creates a perception problem the league can't ignore. When people see moments like that, it becomes harder for them to accept demands for massive financial equality. Authorizing a strike only makes that gap feel wider. Instead of building support, it reinforces the idea that the league is asking for rewards it hasn't fully earned yet. The Players Association, led by Nneka Agwamike, often talks about equality in pay. But equality has to be grounded in economics, not just intention. The NBA makes about $45 per viewer. The WNBA brings in closer to $3 per viewer. NBA players perform in packed 20,000-seat arenas, charge higher ticket prices, and play 82 games each season. WNBA teams play fewer games in smaller buildings at lower prices. Those realities matter. Ignoring these differences doesn't strengthen the argument. It weakens it. Fans aren't rejecting progress. They're questioning whether the timing and demands match the business reality.
Crazy. Yawn. The small interest I have to watch will be gone if they strike. Would anyone notice? A lot of people, they are getting clowned. They are actually getting clowned. They have a professional women's basketball league. When did that begin? The fan base is still not invested enough to sustain the league if they strike. No. I mean, it's crazy. The WNBA has never turned a profit for 30 years, meaning the NBA and more so the owners.
Here's what many fans understand, and what the Players Association seems to be missing. You can't share revenue when there are losses. That idea only works if a league is actually making money. The NBA's 50-50 split exists because the NBA brings in around $11 billion every year and earns huge profits. Players are splitting something real and sustainable. The WNBA is in a completely different situation. The league brings in roughly $200 million annually and still loses between $10 and $40 million each season, depending on the estimate. Those losses have been covered by NBA owners since 1997. That means the money players want to share simply isn't there yet. Demanding the same structure as a league that is 40 times larger and profitable isn't bold or inspiring. It shows a lack of financial awareness, especially given the timing. The 2024 season finally pushed the WNBA into the spotlight. Attendance hit record highs. TV ratings jumped. Much of that surge came from Caitlin Clark's rookie year. Indiana went from half-empty buildings to sold-out crowds. National broadcasts featuring her tripled their audience. Merchandise flew off shelves. Sponsors started paying attention. Expansion felt real. And right at the peak of that momentum, the union chose to threaten a work stoppage. To many fans, that feels reckless, not strategic.
Look, it's kind of weird. We all just got a trial run on what it was like to not be able to see Caitlin Clark on the court. It sucked. It sucked, but these players haven't done enough as of yet. They haven't. I mean, it's crazy. They just saved the owners money. Go ahead and strike and do a clean out. Play with your rookie contracts and ask anyone overseas if they want to play and anyone else who wants to play. Just clean house. You know.
Look closely at the reaction online. These are not trolls trying to stir trouble. These are real fans who have followed the WNBA for years, supported its growth, and genuinely care about the league. And right now, many of them are angry. They're calling the players' leadership embarrassing. They're questioning the judgment behind these decisions. Some are even pointing out that players who own stakes in other leagues could benefit if the WNBA falls apart. That concern isn't rooted in hate or disrespect. It's rooted in fear of losing something they've waited decades to see succeed. Fans watched this league struggle for 27 years. They finally saw real momentum in 2024. Attendance rose. Ratings exploded. Interest felt real for the first time. Now, they're watching players threaten that progress over a revenue-sharing demand that doesn't match the league's financial reality. The current CBA runs until October 2025. The owner's proposal would raise the team salary cap from $1.46 million to more than $3 million. Maximum pay would jump from $249,000 to nearly $1.9 million. Minimum salaries would more than double. And yet, the union's response was to approve a strike, demanding a share of revenue that simply isn't there. That's why fans are alarmed.
Yikes. Man, so tired of the women fatigue. It's crazy. It is crazy. This is an opportunity for the owners and stakeholders of the WNBA to reboot the league. You will get tons of international fans. Will anyone actually notice or care? Seriously, if the league folds, would anybody really miss it? And I can tell you, as soon as I drop one of these videos, I get a ton of these comments.
David Sampson understands how team owners think because he has been one himself. As the former president of the Miami Marlins, he spent years inside ownership meetings where real financial decisions were made. When he says the NBA will draw a firm line on revenue sharing and shut the WNBA down before crossing it, that isn't guesswork. It's experience talking. He's describing how owners protect their money when negotiations turn risky. The players are pushing for a 50-50 revenue split, similar to what NBA athletes receive. On paper, that sounds fair. In practice, it's complicated. The WNBA has lost money every season of its existence. Owners are willing to raise salaries significantly, but they refuse to share revenue that doesn't actually exist as profit. From their perspective, splitting losses makes no sense. This is where the divide becomes clear. One side is focused on ideals and long-term fairness. The other side is looking at balance sheets and sustainability. Both positions have logic behind them, but only one keeps the league operating. Principles matter, but they don't cover bills if the league shuts down. If talks collapse, players don't gain leverage. They lose jobs, exposure, and income. That's the hard truth Sampson is pointing out.
I mean, they're playing with fire. All right? They're playing with fire. A lot of people was supporting them for the most part on getting the salary. It's the revenue sharing where people are like...
The WNBA Players Association has officially approved a strike, and the reaction from fans has been shock and confusion. This situation feels different from most labor disputes people are used to seeing. The WNBA has never been profitable in its 27-year history. Nearly every team is owned by an NBA organization that has covered financial losses for decades. Until recently, the league struggled to attract sustained attention. Now momentum has finally arrived. Attendance is up, TV ratings jumped, and interest exploded largely because of one transformational player. Just as things started moving in the right direction, the union signaled it is willing to shut everything down. That's what caught many fans off guard. Reports suggest the league offered a deal that would raise the maximum salary from about $250,000 to nearly $2 million. That's an increase of roughly 800%. In most professional sports, that kind of jump would be celebrated as a massive win. Instead, players rejected it and pushed toward a possible work stoppage. Fans are struggling to understand why now is the moment to draw a hard line. With growth finally happening and new eyes watching, many worry a strike could undo years of progress. The fear isn't about players wanting more. It's about whether walking away risks losing everything the league just gained.